my name is Matthew Sanchez Chua, and I'm here to present my thesis analysis of effective youth safe spaces for campus safety and security planning, the case of the La Salle College of St. Benilde in Manila City, Philippines. My advisor is Prof. Magnaye, and my critic is Professor Yap, and my member of the panel is Professor Gomez. So here is the outline of my presentation. So for the introduction, background of the study, urban setting can both be sources of opportunities and threats. It is a living organism that continues on expanding its horizon to a point where opportunities grow and thrive for some sectors while imposing threats to vulnerable ones. So among the vulnerable ones is the youth. The youth is exposed to everyday challenges and risks that entails their need to survive from different sorts of crimes when navigating spaces, especially in educational poor, like the tough academic zone and university belt. So emphasizing safety and security within a place of study is essential in making sure that the youth's learning, productivity, and well-being are at its optimal form. So my study is the De La Salle College of St. Benilde. Why I chose this? Because of its unique characteristic that considers to be a social-physical approach. It has this kapitbahayan strategy where the focus are partnership building, mutual development, and social transformation. It is their way to ensure the safety of the students by partnering with all the barangays and making sure that coordination is in place. So the rationale of the study, I found this gap. So while previous studies focus much either on crime prevention or on gender sensitivity, there is a gap in literature that integrates both social and physical dimensions of campus safety and security. So kailangan natin itong socio-physical approach para naman magkaroon ng integration yung built environment, institutional policies, and social behavior. And here are my statement of problem and objectives. I'm gonna read the objectives only para kasi aligned naman siya. So general objective to assess the effectiveness of De La Salle College of St. Benilde campus neighborhood in Manila City as safe space for the youth through the lens of socio-physical approach. My specific objectives are: one, to analyze the spatial pattern of historical and recurrent crime incidents within the physical environmental conditions in the neighborhood of De La Salle College of St. Benilde and Manila campuses, to examine the role of social intervention strategies in promoting youth safety and crime prevention within the campus neighborhood, to evaluate the influence of institutional mechanisms on students' perception of campus safety and security, to establish a set of social-physical criteria and indicators that define an effective safe space in academic environments, and last is to formulate a social-physical planning and implications in urban design guidelines aimed at enhancing youth-centered safety and security within the neighborhood of the La Salle College of St. Benilde. So for my hypothesis, the effectiveness of the La Salle College of St. Benilde neighborhood as safe space for the youth is influenced by the integration of socio-physical approach, wherein the interaction of physical environmental conditions, social interventions, and institutional mechanisms significantly shape students' perception of safety and the spatial patterns of crime. So here is the scope of my study. So why the La Salle College of St. Benilde? It is located at the heart of Taft Academic Zone, known for innovation, inclusion, and learner-centered education, home to thousands of diverse learners coming from different cities within the Philippines and abroad. It has 4 campuses and 5 specialized learning spaces. The study covered the campuses and specialized learning spaces of the Manila City lang, yung Benilde campuses in Manila City. The study analyzed reported and perceived crime incidents within the campus's neighborhood using the social-physical approach, examining how physical design features and social interventions, particularly the kapitbahayan strategy, influence safety. Data were collected from crime incident reports from campus security, barangay offices, and police stations, surveys and interviews with students and stakeholders, field observation and mapping of safety conditions, and review of policies and guidelines on safe academic environments. So for my limitation of my study, the study did not cover campuses outside Manila campuses. Example is yung Benilde Antipolo. The analysis focused primarily on the youth sector, particularly Benilde students, and did not comprehensively cover all community members. While the study assessed the presence of safety and security measures, it did not conduct a detailed criminological profiling of offenders. And last one is financial and administrative management of campus safety and security operations were not analyzed in depth unless directly relevant to the study findings. So for my review of related literature, first, we define the concept and what is safe space. So before that, let's go on with the timeline. In 1960s, it is first informally named by feminist and LGBTQ plus movement. Then in 1989, used explicitly and systematically in United States universities. In 1990, anti-bullying and anti-harassment initiatives were included in safe space in a global scale, acknowledging safe space as proactive and empowering environments for diverse identities in educational institutions. And in 2006, the need for child-friendly spaces in humanitarian responses was recognized by the interagency standing, and in 2020s became a global acceptance that physical, emotional, and social safety are fundamental in realizing sustainable development. So for the definition of concepts, what is safe space? In the Philippines, safe space is any place, private or public, online or offline, where individuals are free from discrimination, harassment, and gender-based violence. So it is primarily focused on women and children. In Asia, safe space is about ensuring freedom from bullying, violence, and harassment in education and community spaces. Internationally, safe space is an environment in which individuals feel confident that they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, or emotional harm, allowing for free expression and exploration of identity. So the keyword here is free expression and exploration of identity. In urban planning, safe spaces refer to the built environment, may it be public or private, intentionally designed to reduce fear and risk of violence, crime, and harassment while promoting physical, social, and psychological safety for all users, taking emphasis on the vulnerable groups. So for theories and principles, under social physical approach or crime prevention through environmental design, defensible space theory, the right to the city, and safe spaces and gender and education advocacy. For the principles, there are access control, maintenance and management, inclusivity in universal design, community participation, territorial reinforcement, and natural surveillance. And for the effectiveness in safe spaces, according to these several authors, it is concluded that safe space has these indicators in terms of effectivity. So sense of belonging, freedom of expression, emotional and psychological safety, and trust and inclusivity. So for policies, national laws, Safe Spaces Act or the RA 11313 and the Magna Carta of Women RA 7610. Local ordinances include Local Safe Spaces Ordinance, Youth Code of Manila, Anti-Catcalling or Street-Level Sexual Harassment, and Safe School Zones. For my theoretical framework, it starts with social physical approach where it has two dimensions, the social factor and the physical factors, leading to effective safe spaces for the youth. For my conceptual framework, the social factors, physical factors, and institutional factors, when integrated together, they form students' perception of campus safety and security, wherein the indicators are sense of belonging, freedom of expression, emotional and psychological safety, trust, and inclusivity, and it will lead to safety and security plan. For my research design operational framework, it starts with inputs, process, and outputs. It starts with literature and policy review down to key informants identified. Process, it starts with instrument design down to spatial and statistical data analysis. For my output, students' perception of safety and security down to urban design guidelines for campus neighborhood safety. For my research methodology, it starts with topic identification and problem definition, review of related literature, research design and instrument development, data collection, data analysis, interpretation of results, and conclusion and recommendation. So for my primary data, survey questionnaire, participatory safety mapping, field observation, key informant interviews, which include campus administrators, Center for Inclusive Education staff, security personnel, and police officers. Secondary data, crime incident reports, academic journals and literature, policy, and institutional documents. For my sampling design, I used the Cochrane's formula estimated student population is 10,000, margin of error 5%, confidence level 95%, and sample size is 370. Here is my survey questionnaire. For the description of the study area, for campuses, we have four. First one is the main campus along Taft, home to senior high school, deaf school, and administrative offices. For the design and arts campus, it is home to art and design related courses, professional courses, and museum. For the APIC, it is home to culinary and hospitality related courses, and for the atrium, game related courses, diplomatic related courses. And we have specialized learning spaces. The first one is the generator that is attached to the Design and Arts Campus. It is a 24-hour core working space during midterm and final examinations week. And of course, the Hi-Fi, it is home to business startups incubation. And one specialized learning spaces that is for athletes is yung sports and dormitory complex. And this is the latest property developed for hands-on learning. It is managed by the School of Environment and Design. It was just opened last January, kaya nasa survey respondents ko konti lang siya kasi nga bago siya. And wala pa siyang service to shuttle going there, no? So for the evacuation sites, we have the PE, yung Sandejas Gym, cover gym, which is for PE classes na ginagawa din siyang evacuation site tuwing fire drill, earthquake drill, and yung mga totoong nangyaring fire and earthquake nga. And yung parking spaces natin na malapit lang sa DAC or Design and Arts Campus. So for objective 1, reported crime incidents in the campus neighborhood, I asked first-hand experiences, yung mga direct victims, and second-hand experiences, no, yung mga indirect victimization. So for the first-hand, meron tayong highest na peak hour, yung afternoon natin, 1 to 5:59 p.m. with 46.67%, and yung nighttime, which is 23.33%. Incidents include scam and coercion, road safety incidents, snatching, hold-up, harassment. For the second-hand experience, nighttime has 41.78% and afternoon has 23.29%. And incidents include phone snatching, pickpocketing, riding in tandem, theft, sexual harassment, and duraduraga. So as you can see, mas madami yung nighttime pagdating sa second-hand experience, and of course yung pagkalat ng news about sa mga nangyayari kasi nga mas grabe yung perception kapag gabi. So for the spatial distribution and clustering of incidents, for crime pattern under first-hand and second-hand experiences, nandito sa left, and sa right naman yung crime patterns as reported by Center for Social Action. And exposure and perceived relationship, risk relationship, the highest is pagdating sa mapping na submitted by student responses based on their perception. As you have noticed kanina sa survey ko, merong mapping kasi meron akong participatory survey na ginawa. And then as I generated all my survey respondents, ito yung kanilang yung exposure sa street. Yung highest is yung Pablo Ocampo, at Singalong yung another second highest. Pero manonotice ninyo later dyan. Here, street frequency walk by students. I also asked this one from them. And as you can see from here, yung Singalong is not that frequently walk, pero siya yung highest perceived na in terms of unsafe street, siya yung highest. My interpretation of that is that una, likod siya ng St. Scholastica College. Yung natural surveillance is not that high. May mga bintana naman sa likuran, pero usually covered din siya ng trees, so wala siya yung eye on the street. And then at the same time, yung formal surveillance, pagdating dito, here, I mapped out the CCTV installed in my study area and majority not working, or majority ay wala doon. Pero sa may Estrada naman, majority ay not working because of the relocation of barangay. Andun yung CCTV pero nakalawit na or nakalaylay na. So pagdating naman sa street lights, konti lang din yung meron sa likod na yon, yung sa may Singalong Street, yung likod ng Saint Scholastica, and most of which are not active, no, or hindi siya gumagana. So in overall assessment sa mapping ko, 20%, 21% of street lights are not working. So for pedestrian mobility and exposure corridor, ito yung mga transfer pattern. I got yung mga multiple buildings or campuses na pinapasukan ng students every day, and I came up with this one. 11 of which are using the street na yung Pablo Ocampo going to Leon Ginto. So Design and Arts Campus to Main Campus, and the rest andyan na rin naman, no. Pero ang pinakamataas talaga dito lagi is yung Pablo Ocampo. Kasi nasa gitna siya ng netong Main Campus, and of course yung naging transfer corridor siya going to Hi-Fi, Sandejas Cover Gym, Atrium, tapos yung Akik. So for the crossing guards as semi-formal guardians, merong mga tinalaga yung ating school dyan. Meron sa TAF, meron sa may in front of BPI, sa may Pablo Ocampo. And redundantly, dito din banda madaming crime. Or I mean, ironically. And then sa may, dito sa may Aki, meron ding crossing guard. So for community-based civilian patrol, there are 6 civilians patrolling the vicinity, and this is their route. Usually yung 6 na to, naka-position sila sa mga main campuses natin or namin, and then meron silang regular na routing din. So paikot-ikot din sila sa vicinity. And we have for the behavioral adaptation shuttle service as a mobility safety strategy, shuttle service routes, meron tayong e-bus and e-jeepney. So 164 respondents indicated reasons such as safety, security, danger, crime, feeling scared. Kasi nga tinanong ko rin, kasi nakita ko rin, although hindi ito yung intention ng administration, pero nakita ko siya as something that can be a social factor in terms of making the students safe, especially at night. So Task Force Safe Schools, meron tayong ganoon. And then there is an ongoing consortium between the LSU, Saint Scholastica College, and De La Salle College of St. Benilde, wherein isa lang yung agency or security agency na hinahire nila for faster communication and response. So meron din tayo from the institutional side, meron tayong checkpoint dito along Arellano Avenue, meron tayong beat police. Yung beat police, ito yung kapag walking distance lang yung kailangan puntahan na respondihan. Tactical motorcycle riding unit naman yung naghahabol talaga sa mga riding in tandem, at meron tayong checkpoint na nakaabang na kasi alam na nila na dito usually yung labas kasi one way ito, yung sa Pablo Ocampo. So perceived institutional response under Objective 3, students' perception of safety is influenced by visible enforcement, awareness of safety initiatives, and confidence in reporting mechanisms. Limited awareness of reporting mechanisms may weaken students' perception of institutional effectiveness. These findings highlight the importance of clear communication and transparency in campus safety governance. So for Objective 4, meron tayong social physical dimension dito leading towards the contribution to effective safe space indicators. So lighting and visibility leads to emotional and psychological safety. Presence of CCTV and surveillance leading to trust and inclusivity. Pedestrian infrastructure leading to emotional safety and sense of belonging. Street activity and human presence leading to sense of belonging. Community engagement, yung kapitbahayan strategy namin, leading to trust and inclusivity, institutional safety policies, leading to freedom of expression, and environmental maintenance, leading to emotional and psychological safety. So for Objective 5, design guidelines as derived from socio-physical assessment findings. So number 1 is here, papakita ko na lang ng mabilis, physical, social, and institutional leading to integrated safety plan. So speed humps along campus corridor, crossing guards at major pedestrian crossings, coordination with barangay and police patrols, leading to reinforced pedestrian corridors between campuses, speed bumps near checkpoints. This is for anti-riding in tandem, civilian patrol visibility in high pedestrian areas, alignment of patrol routes with crime clustering, integrated transfer calming in campus neighborhood, then raise pedestrian crossing near campus gates, community awareness and reporting participation, strengthening Safe Spaces app implementation leads to youth-centered safe mobility network and continuous street lighting and CCTV coverage, visible guardianship in nighttime corridors, and joint campus LGU safety monitoring. It leads to layered social-physical safety network. So for the main objective for the physical effectiveness, overall, campus interior is physically effective, but surrounding public corridors show uneven safety conditions. So for social effectiveness, social mechanisms improve perceived safety but functions as supporting safeguards rather than primary protection. And for the institutional effectiveness, institutional mechanisms are functional but require stronger spatial coordination to maximize effectiveness. And for the integrated socio-physical assessment, the campus neighborhood is partially effective as a youth safe space, but transitional corridors require targeted planning interventions. So overall determination of effectiveness, the campus neighborhood functions as a conditionally safe environment requiring targeted spatial reinforcement in transitional corridors. And for preliminary conclusions, campus neighborhood safety is socio-physical in nature. Crime incidents cluster along pedestrian transfer corridors. Environmental vulnerabilities contribute to risk. Visible guardianship improves perceived safety. Institutional mechanisms reinforce safety perception. Safety effectiveness depends on coordination. Campus neighborhood shows partial effectiveness as a youth safe space. Sustainable safety requires socio-physical integration. So next steps are validation of survey findings through expert feedback and stakeholder consultation, refinement of spatial analysis and interpretation of results, strengthening of socio-physical planning implications and design guidelines, and the finalization of recommendations and policy implications. And these are my references. So thank you so much. Again, this is Matthew Sanchez Chua, and this is my master's thesis. Thank you.